Oh, we're back. Why does it feel so risky to share stronger opinions as your platform grows?
So, if your thinking has evolved, but your thought leadership still sounds like an earlier version of you, this is more common than people realize.
And today we're talking about why that happens and what it actually means.
This is the Grow Your Business for Good show. We're your hosts. I'm Shannon Hernandez.
And I'm Amy Hager.
This show explores what happens when a business outgrows its message and what it takes to rebuild messaging systems that carry the full depth of your work.
Each episode breaks down how messaging shapes trust, authority, and decision making, and why many established businesses find themselves explaining more while being understood less. We focus on the strategic shifts founders and leadership teams need to make when clarity alone isn't enough, so their expertise comes through without oversimplifying it. So, thought leadership deepens trust when you share your values, your point of view, your lived experience, and not remain neutral. I think one thing that Shannon and I always say is when your messaging attracts as much as it repels, you know it's working well. And so I think we're going to really focus today, though, on having those bold opinions and putting that stake in the ground. And so, Shannon, why do you think bold opinions build trust with your mature audiences?
Well, I think there's a couple of things we can kind of talk about here. All
Mm-hmm.
right. Um, an opinionated leader doesn't need to be angry, condescending, uh, snarky, right?
Attacking. Yeah,
Attacking. Yes, it doesn't need to be these things.
right.
So I want to just have that as a caveat to this episode. I am not talking about going after people. I am not
Right.
talking about disagreeing for the sake of disagreeing. But why do our mature audiences trust people who share their opinions? It's because if you're doing it the right way, you're coming from your lived experience and you're sharing your opinion of what happened and how you made it through. You may be sharing your opinion about our responsibility or my responsibility for an incident that happened, or my responsibility for the impact that I want to have in the world.
Right.
Or you may want to just share your opinion because you're recognizing a pattern or something happening over and over again in your area of expertise. And you want to share that opinion and why you think that is happening. Y'all, this is thought leadership at its best.
Right.
And Amy,
Right.
I don't think we can call ourselves or be called thought leaders or think we're thought leaders if we're not leading with thoughts. And a lot of our thoughts as we mature as business owners and leaders come from lived experience and the things that we're seeing and dealing with in the day to day of life or business or whatever it is.
Right. And when you think about this, like super duper logically, think about the growth in the path that you've been on with your business. You started out probably in one space where you are the thought leader or were the thought leader there. And as you had experiences with clients, you uncovered whether you liked to work one-on-one with people. You uncovered whether you liked to do work in a group setting. You uncovered whether you liked to speak about this on a stage or you wanted to write a book. And so, as you've had those experiences and journey within your business, you're becoming more aware of who you are right now and where you're wanting to go. And so, when you think about this with the lens of thought leadership and what you're putting out on your platforms, it's very much so the same. And I think a lot of people hold back from sharing that journey because they're wanting to be seen as a expert and as the person who has all the knowledge, But really, what builds those deep relationships and those deep trusts, I think, is sharing part of that journey with your audience so that they can see how you grow, how you put together your thoughts, and how and why you believe what you believe in. And again, it's giving them that opportunity to say, oh my gosh, yes, been there, feel that. You're in my head. You're speaking exactly to where I am right now. Or, yeah, this is just not for me.
Yeah. And I want to share a very real example of something that, I've been going through for the last 6 weeks. It started with a client who flipped out. I don't know why, because we have not figured that out, but it's okay. Totally flipped out, was 2 months from completing a year-long program, filed a chargeback. Okay, it sucks. Like, I'm just gonna
Yeah,
say that sucks
right.
on so many levels. There's never gonna be a winner here. Anyway, we won the chargeback, but then the vindictiveness got worse,
Right.
right? A one-star Google review showed up. Um, People reached out with terrible things she had said about me and about this brand in public spaces where my peers convene, right?
Hmm.
Anyway, this was a snowball effect in the worst it could be. And the only thing that didn't snowball, thank God this time, was my emotions around shame. You know
Mm.
why? Because I lived this 6 years ago, and that was the emotions at the time. I wanted to crawl under a blanket and cover up my head and
Yeah.
not reemerge ever again. And it was horrible. It was a horrible feeling. And this time I thought to myself, okay, I can, one, I've matured, can
Yeah.
ride this wave. It's not a fun wave to be on, but I will ride the wave.
Yeah.
And two, I will not name names. And I actually wrote a post about this. Hey, there's some mean girl shit going on that I'm in the middle of, and it sucks. And if you're here, here's what I want you to know. It is not about you. You do need
Right.
to go check yourself and make sure you have tried to, you've
Right.
uh, crossed all your T's and dotted all your
Got it all.
I's, right?
Yeah.
Because we're human and sometimes things get misconstrued. But at the end of the day, I want you to know this happens to the best of us. This probably won't be the last time, and there are no winners. The number of people who commented on that, Amy, said, oh my God, I've been through this. I thought I was only one. Or, oh my God, this sounds like something I went through. I'm glad you're talking about it.
Yeah.
Right? And this is what I'm talking about. 6 years ago, when I went through some mean girl drama, I could not talk about it. I was so filled with so much shame,
Right.
right? I won that one too because we operate with integrity here, right? But it doesn't
Right.
matter. It doesn't take away the feelings of
No,
of
it doesn't.
deceit and grieving and all of that.
Right.
So this is just one example, right? Where this week I decided to share my what I was going through. Um, and when it got bad enough and the one-star review came in with her name attached, I decided it was time to name a name.
Yeah. Well,
And go ahead.
and I think the thing that I want to just repeat and make sure that people are hearing is you could have spoke out about this in a similar case 6 years ago, but you as the thought leader were not ready to put that flag into the ground and talk about it. And we're not making yourself wrong for it. And it's been the evolution of you as a human, you as a business, you as the experiences that you've had, where you now do feel, I'm going to say, comfortable and confident in your own thought leadership skin. And you do feel like you can actually speak about this now that you have matured as a business owner. And so that is exactly the journey that I'm talking about here. And I think that's really, really important to honor. And so, making sure you have that, I'm going to say full body yes, that you feel comfortable speaking out about this, even though what you're speaking out about is a little bold. Okay,
Hmm.
it's really bold. Like, let's be honest, not a little bold. It's really bold.
It
But
was really bold,
you really had to
right?
work up towards this.
Yeah. And I think, one of the reasons that opinions start to feel riskier as we gain more visibility is because the stakes feel higher.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, I knew when I made a conscious decision to go talk about this, my Facebook profile is public.
Yeah.
I didn't change it. It's
Right.
public,
Right.
right? I also know that algorithms tend to reward things that are controversial. So
Controversial.
I made very sure when I worded it, this is why I'm sharing this now. We run in
Yeah.
many of the same circles. And if this has happened to me, I guarantee you she will do this to you.
Right.
Think about the company you keep, right?
Exactly.
And the consequences, if it goes wrong, which it could, right?
Yeah.
Feel more permanent as our platforms grow because more people are seeing you and more people are interacting with you, right? And so, one of the things that we have to be careful of is yes, we want to share our opinions, okay? And yes, we know the stakes are higher.
Hmm.
Um, but we don't want to self edit.
Yeah.
And when we begin self editing, it kind of looks like this. Well, I'm going to just smooth the edges of this topic and make it a little more palatable, or whatever the word is,
Yeah.
palpable. Or you avoid it altogether. And this was something I could not avoid at this point in
Yeah.
my career and in what was happening within our community. And
Right.
by the way, y'all, on a very practical standpoint, you can call it selfish. I'm going to call it practical. Uh, 30 people in 2 days went and left a Google review that buried the bogus one. And wow,
Right.
now I have some really good words to
Yeah.
use
Using the
for
messaging.
my messaging.
There is a glimmer of light that comes out of the darkness. And here's the other thing that I can appreciate about where you've standed on this is you avoided, well, you made it very clear that this was what you were saying, this is why you were saying. So you used a little bit of storytelling too into it. It wasn't just coming out and saying, this sucks, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
it
and it
took a
wasn't,
minute to unpack it.
yeah, and it also wasn't one post. Like I had
Right.
basically done an update over the course of several weeks to really
Yeah.
help people understand they're not alone when this shit happens,
Right.
right? Now, let's talk a minute about the cost of staying neutral,
Right. Because
because
that's
that's the flip
where we were
side.
taught to kind of play is neutral, right? We don't want people to think bad things about us. We don't want people to not agree with us. We don't want people to say, they're not for me. But when you stay neutral in your voice and in your messaging, it doesn't give anybody that clear yes that they are for you. It feels like it's a lot
No.
safer,
Yeah,
but you're really not
it
saying
does feel
anything at all.
safer. Exactly. And when you're neutral and your thought leadership is evolving and people, your platforms are bigger, right? Here's what neutrality actually signals to your audience. Oh, they're being vague. That's kind of like shady, right? Like, oh, this
Yeah.
this is like
Vagueness
vague.
can definitely be viewed as shady.
Yep. Lack of discernment, lack
Hmm.
of leadership, right? The very things we've all worked so hard to
Right?
not be show up if we choose not to have opinions or express our opinions in things. And we'll talk in a moment about things you can stay away from. You're perfectly
Yeah.
fine, right? And why we choose that. But in terms of your expertise, in terms of that flag that you stick in the ground or those mini flags that you're known for, people are looking to us for discernment, for specificity, for leadership, right? People don't follow leaders for more information. My God, they can go get information till the cows come home.
Right.
They follow us for our judgment and for our opinions on things.
Yeah. So then, I think the thing that I want to unpack though about mature audiences and why they trust leaders' opinions, and I think you're kind of alluding to it, but let's dive in a little bit more. Established founders and mature audiences do not need more ideas. They have
Nope.
plenty of their own. Y'all sitting there, I do not need another idea. I got plenty of my own, right? But what they're really seeking from you is your judgment or your perspective is another great word to kind of describe it, right? And when you can give that perspective from your lived experience, patterns that maybe you've recognized, and when you can own the responsibility for the impact that you know that sharing that impact, the opinion is going to make, that's why mature audiences really follow your thought leadership.
Exactly. And I think one thing in my own journey, even as the platforms grow, the audience grows, my perspective grows, there's a little part of me that still wants to just be safe with
Yeah,
giving information,
right.
right? You've
Yeah.
called this out, Amy. You've said to me many times over the last year, Shannon, people resonate with the posts that you call worldview posts, where you share your thinking and you share your perspective. You need to do that more. And I'm like, okay,
Yeah, it's
okay,
what they want,
Amy.
right? It's what they want from you. And the let's again, strong opinions, and when you're sharing these, what we call Shannon's worldviews or Shannon's view on the world, it's not sharing Shannon's hot takes,
No,
right? It's not sharing top 10 tips.
it's not provoking for attention.
Yeah.
Oh God, I know somebody that does this. It drives me nuts.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. Um, and I think what it is that we're choosing the topics that we really want to be known for and very thoughtfully choosing topics that we don't want to touch or that are not in our wheelhouse or expertise. And so, Shannon, give me a couple of those topics that are for you that you're not going to touch, that are not in your wheelhouse, that I'm going to say we stay away from.
Yeah, well, one for me is politics.
Yeah,
I
same.
mean, one, it just does not excite me at all. It actually, just saying that word made my stomach do a flip-flop, and I'm not even kidding,
Yeah.
right? It's one of the reasons we have now moved overseas,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Um, so politics. But here's
Hmm.
the thing I want everyone to know. Like, I'm not even educated enough on the subject to talk about politics.
Right.
That's the thing. I don't need to form opinions on everything. And politics and religion are two that just, there are people way more articulate,
Yeah.
informed, educated, and have like that's their wheelhouse, and I let them gladly stay there.
Right. And to be honest, we actually have clients and collaborators who are, I'm going to say, informed thought leaders within those areas. We follow them. And have we helped them maybe figure out the positioning and the messaging and how to say the words that they want to say that are sitting on their heart? 100%. But that does not mean that that's a stake in the ground that we need to pull out of our backpack and put in. But also I think there's topics too that we just completely outgrow and that we no longer want to talk about. And, I was a commentator for race cars for NASCAR. I had a lot of opinions back in the day about Jack Gordon, Dale Earnhardt Jr. when they came out. And I don't have those anymore. And I don't have that expertise anymore. It's something that, I haven't talked or really formed or had a true opinion about in years. And so it's okay too when you realize, this isn't where I am in life anymore. Do I still value those days? Do I still love those days? Are there still learning lessons that I learned from all those experiences that I use today? 1,000%. But you're not going to see me talk about the upcoming Daytona 500 or anything. But if you would have talked to me 20 years ago, we would be talking about Daytona 500 right now because it's about that season. So I think there's times that you can really leave a expertise or thought leadership, and that is okay. Do I get asked every once in a while, like, wow, you used to really be into that and we never hear you talk about it? Yeah, it's not something that I'm passionate about anymore.
Yeah. And I think even a subset, right? So like you are no longer in that world, so it doesn't make sense to like spend your time and energy there.
Right.
I have another example. So for those of you who are listening who don't know, I have a book called Practical Joy, Simple
Yes.
Tools to Cultivate More Joy Every Day. I've been reached out to several times. People want me to come teach about joy in HR. No. Like, don't know the world, don't know what's going on, does not sound exciting. I have a collaborator who we were doing some stuff around joy together, but he switched his focus to joy for children between 6 and 12. Nope,
Mhm.
my work does not fit there,
No.
right? So I quietly had to say, go find people who do this. That's good. This is not me. So even if it's a topic that like joy, like joyful business revolution, right? Practical joy.
Yeah.
We talk about joy being the center of our work. It doesn't mean that every conversation or opportunity that comes my way that has the word joy thrown in is actually uh, good for my thought leadership. So you have to be
Right.
discerning, right? And what you're going to say and how you're going to interact with maybe subtopics within your topic.
Right. Right. So as we wrap up today's episode, I think there's kind of 3 points that I'm hoping you're taking home. Is one, when you are a thought leader who is sharing your opinion, especially when it's from judgment, experience, and your perspective, and when it can be very grounded and it's feeling good in your body, you're feeling confident, and I would almost say calm with saying it, that opinion shows up as a service to your audience. And
Hmm.
when you can grow trust through your perspectives and not stay neutral, that is also really helping to elevate your visibility, elevate your platforms, and elevate the work that you're doing. And that's, I think, what most mature thought leaders really, really want. And so the thing that you really need to think through, though, is as your visibility grows, it may feel more proper to restrain, right? And to be more neutral. But also, you don't have to have opinions about everything,
Oh, does not feel refreshing.
right?
Amy,
Yay.
my dad, to this day, I'm sure you've heard this. Of course, he didn't say belly button, he said something else. Opinions are like belly buttons. Everyone
Everyone
has one.
has one.
So, guess what I
Um,
learned early on? It's
yeah.
not safe to give an opinion, they don't matter, right? And
Mm,
you know, the earlier episodes in this series on thought leadership, if you haven't heard them, go back, listen to episode 1 and 2 of the season. We talked about the identity and the new identities you have to step into in order to be a thought leader and be a more grounded, lived experience leader
yeah.
and come from a place of service. And so this is like a full circle moment. And yes, we all have belly buttons as well as other things.
Yeah.
And it's okay to have opinions. Just know where you are, be ready to defend it, right? Or not. You don't even have to defend your opinion.
Right.
Um, and share it because your mature audience is looking to you for your leadership and your judgment.
Mm, yeah. So if you've been listening to us today and you're finding yourself wanting a little bit more, and especially when you're talking about your work and the services that you offer, if you feel like you're explaining your work more than you should, remember you can always download our profit-driven messaging ecosystem guide at joyfulbusinessrevolution.com/profit messaging. So that's the end of our show today, but don't worry, we'll be back again later. So we'll see you all later. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Bye-bye.
Adios.
Thank you for listening to Grow Your Business for Good. This show is a part of our work at the Joyful Business Revolution, where we help founders and leadership teams rebuild messaging systems when their work has outgrown their message. If you're explaining too much and people still don't fully understand the value of your work, you can explore more at joyfulbusinessrevolution.com.
Until next time, remember this: when your messaging system is aligned, sales conversations shorten, and your expertise comes through clearly.
Thank you for listening to Grow Your Business for Good. This show is a part of our work at the Joyful Business Revolution, where we help founders and leadership teams rebuild messaging systems when their work has outgrown their message. If you're explaining too much and people still don't fully understand the value of your work, you can explore more at joyfulbusinessrevolution.com.
Until next time, remember this: when your messaging system is aligned, sales conversations shorten, and your expertise comes through clearly.